Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have stumbled upon the 100th episode of Sippin' Tea with Joey and Marie, brought to you by Joey and Marie in collaboration with 12 Rounds Podcast and Humble Vision Network. Ladies and gentlemen, the 100th episode. Yo, we're 100 episodes deep right now, and we had to make us extra special.
Yeah, extra. Give it a little spice.
Yeah, give it a little spice. Give it a little something. Not only that, but I feel really proper. I feel really official.
Me as well.
Like a referee whistle.
Yeah, because we are sipping some tea.
We're really actually sipping some tea right now. Literally sipping some tea right now. And out of these really proper looking cups right here, created by MAG of Humble Vision Network.
Of course. I really love the sip the tea portion.
I know. Look at that.
Of this, because it really is you're sipping some tea.
I feel like a proper host now.
Yeah, I feel like a proper host too as well. We're moving on up.
Moving on up. Moving on up. I don't know. Is this the east side? What side were you on in Boise?
You know what? That's a very good question. I'm not good at that. So.
MEG, where are we? Are we on the east side? Oh, well, it doesn't sound as cool.
Side, okay.
Hey, moving on up. Yeah. Well, the east side of the north side, right? North side of the east side? Something like that.
Something like that.
So behind the cameras right now is MAG. And you know what? We're going to have him on the show here very shortly. But we really want to just celebrate.
Yeah.
This is what the show is all about today.
This is our 100th episode. You know, I just want to give a big shout out to everyone, like literally everyone since day one, from our morning show up until this podcast. You know, thank you to our family, just anyone who's continuing to support us in this journey. Because, you know, with the 100 episodes, like it's just tripping me out.
It's monumental.
I'm tripping out that it's 100th episode already. And just kind of having, you know, one of the biggest things I've been doing recently, you know, thinking about this 100th episode is reflection, right? You know, when you hit certain, you know, marks like that in your life, or whatever you do, you start to reflect on what happened previously. And that's what we kind of want to do with this episode. I mean, we're always
You still got a fresh mind. I forget a lot of stuff.
Right? I'm always thinking, always on the go. But with this particular episode, we wanted to make it really special because you guys, you know, you got to know us from anything from emotional to hilarious. Obviously, you know, we're two hilarious people, right?
I think we're pretty funny.
It runs in the family. If you don't find me funny,
that's what we do,
that's
baby
okay.
Boo.
Yeah, like everyone's funny in their own ways. But we want you guys to get to know who we are as hosts, what this podcast means to us, and just kind of everything. And we are going to have some special guests throughout this episode
it's going to be special.
You know, truthfully have been a really big part of our podcasting journey. You know, whether supporting us behind the scenes or being there with us and just word of mouth, we just really want to bring that love and, you know, reflection again back to this thing.
Oh, yeah. And if you're brand new to the podcast, this is our 100th episode. You know, we said it at the beginning.
Yes.
But you might not know us yet. You know what? So we want to introduce ourselves. Now, Marie talked about our morning show. We used to have a morning show on 92.7 The Music Monster, which actually was #1 in our area. We were number one across the board. We beat every radio station out there, and we were just killing it. You know what I mean? And the reason we stopped, it was almost like we wanted to stop like Jerry Seinfeld on top. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And so kind of like that, but that's what we're going to say. But really, I ended up getting a promotion. I ended up becoming the operations manager of 6 different stations, Iliad Media Group, and then you started working for the College of Southern Idaho. So our schedules made it really hard for us to do a morning show, and a morning show it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work
to construct one. Yes.
Yeah, to construct one and to have it aired by that morning, right?
Yeah.
Because we were on like 6 a.m.
Yeah, 6 a.m.
And Mondays through Fridays, and so like. With, you know, it wasn't like we wanted to end it like that, but it's just we had amazing opportunities in our lives that we had to take on. And, you know, because of that, once we did that, we're like, man, like, we still want to keep doing this, right? Like, we want to keep doing this.
And then she's my daughter. I want to hang out with her. That's what we do. We hang out all the time.
At the same time, we were done with the morning show. I was moving out of my parents' house. I moved in with my
That was a sad day for me too. I was in tears. And she only moved like about 2 blocks.
Yeah, I'm not that far. Like, it's really quick, but there was a lot of life changes. And so we did sit down one day and we're like, you know, we want to keep doing this. Like, we want to find something. For one, we get to spend time with each other, right? Like, my dad gets to see me, you know, for sure on a solid one day.
Yeah, because I was really bummed because I thought you better not stop coming to our house, because I thought, oh, you're gonna have your man and you're gonna be all up in the business and not even come over. But guess what? You're still at the house all the time.
I'm still at the house all the time.
Even when I tell you, hey, it's okay, you don't have to come over today. You're still over there.
I'm still coming over. But we were like, you know what? Podcasting is hitting pretty hard. Like, it was the startup of now it was getting really popular. And so we're like, why don't we just do a podcast, right? Like, we can do a podcast and we have more flexibility. You know, obviously we aren't too crazy on our podcast, but we have more creativity creativity in the way we
drop a curse here and there.
Yeah, we drop a curse here and there. Curse this, curse that, Fantastic Mr. Fox. But once we started this, like, it's just, it's like I said, it's truly been an amazing journey, because when we're on the morning show, we had the segment sipping on tea with the Leah Marie. And so it wasn't too much that we had to
too much of a change.
Yeah,
no.
too much of a change.
We wanted to keep it the same branding, just to make sure people would kind of come along with us for the ride as well. And they have. It proves we've been having obviously listeners from all over Idaho. We have a heavy audience in Texas as well as California. Yeah. And right now, Caracas, Venezuela, really loves us.
Shout out to my Venezuela people.
Yeah, man, for Venezuela, Caracas. I mean, I'm like, dang, y'all love me down there? Yeah. Y'all love us down there?
But,
they do, in Germany too.
It's definitely been an amazing journey for many reasons. And so, like, I'm forever grateful that we took on this opportunity, because even with the morning show, like, when my dad was doing his morning show, he threw me there. Like, he didn't ask me if I wanted to do it. He's like, you're going to do this. At the time,
because he already has it. Especially as a father, you already know that your kid has some kind of magic, right? Yeah. All of y'all have something special about you, and I know, this person is gonna excel at this, and this kid's gonna excel at this, and I just try to kind of play with your passions, right? Yeah. And try to kind of help push you and steer you into that direction. And that was the thing about you, is that you were already ready to be in front of a crowd, already be able to talk to people and stuff like that. I mean, it proved when we hosted Latino Fest down in Twin Falls. There was like thousands of people out there. Oh my gosh, that was and you were out in front of the stage.
When I started the morning show, like I feel like I've been a pretty social kid growing up. But as far as being in front of the camera, talking to just random people, like, that was something that I was really, like, I was scared to take on. And so when I did the morning show, thankfully I had you to be my mentor and to really be truthful, do this instead, or maybe say it this way and stuff like that. And I learned a lot by that. And shout out to Tom Nelson too, because he also taught me many things too behind the radio. And
Picture Steve Martin. That's him.
Yeah,
that's his style.
That's what it is. And so as time progressed, like, I definitely became more open, and especially with my current job that I work at the College of Southern Idaho, I'm consistently talking to people, whether it's 30 people to 500 people. Like, I'm always talking, and because I give a lot of things to the morning show, because if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would.
It was like a boot camp.
Yeah, it was a boot camp. Like, I don't think I would have been mentally prepared for everything else. And especially Latino Fest last year, like, I was so scared, and like, my hands were sweaty.
Well, we had to speak both Spanish and English. Now, your English is a little rusty. I mean, Spanish is a little rusty. English. Yeah, just like, but no, your Spanish is a little rusty. But being able to get in front of a stage and be able to speak in two languages and kind of entertain the crowd and be able to give them that energy, and they kind of reciprocate. It's just a beautiful thing. And now you know what it feels like, right?
Yeah. And I think too, what the Morning Show podcast has given me is understanding my identity, because I am Latina, and growing up as a kid, and especially in the area we were growing up in, we didn't have a lot of Hispanic people around us or anything like that. So I struggled with that a lot growing up, and I didn't use Spanish a lot because I felt like at that time I didn't need to have it. But the older I've gotten, especially with the podcast, because we are part of this network known as Latinapodcasters or Latinopods, I started to really understand.
Shout out to Rita.
Yeah, shout out to Rita. I really understand that, by being Latina, like, be proud of who I am, and having the Latino Fest too. Like, I felt like that was just more like a circle of life, right? Like, I struggled so hard as a kid, and now this is where I'm at with my life. And so that's what, like, the podcast has given me. And now I'm more than ever, like, I represent who I am. And with this podcast too, more than anything in my job itself. And it goes back to reflection, right? You just reflect on who you were during that time you started till now, and I'm proud of who I am. Like,
and you should be. You should be. And you should be. It's different because growing up in California, there's diversity. There's a lot of different cultures out there, and especially for me, I grew up with a lot of Hispanics around me, and so then coming over here, it's like a culture clash, right? Then you come over here and you're like one of the only ones, and then you're just like, whoa, this is really weird.
Oh yeah.
But little by little, we start creating this bringing our culture and adding a little spice to the area that we're at. Now, I mean, Boise, you go to Nampa, it's like, it's a lot of Chicanos everywhere, you know what I mean?
But that's so cool because
Burley,
growing up
Jerome,
in Idaho,
they're everywhere.
Growing up in Idaho my whole life, like, I've got to see that, more and more people. And it's so cool because, now more than ever, like I said, I'm trying to be, tell people to be appreciative of who you are, and, you don't need to hide it from people. And especially, what my field of work, like, I have to tell people, be yourself because it's going to get you a lot farther than trying to be someone else that you're not.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In this podcast, any guests we've ever had, you guys get to know them, but more so like their comedic side.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite part about this podcast, because, there's people we've had on our podcast I've known my whole lives, and they're funny people, but they're even more hilarious when you get to have them just be open and showcase who they are as people. And I think what I appreciate more about our podcast is we don't make you do something you don't want to do or try to hide something about.
We make you do things you don't want to do.
Well, yeah, yes and no.
MAG the other day took off his shirt on our podcast, and I said, let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it.
You know what I mean? He was dancing and everything.
But with our podcast,
Christian liked it. Christian was dropping dollars at him.
Yeah, a lot of happy people, customers. It
didn't really happen. It's just, we
it's
just made
fake.
it.
But I definitely think that is one thing that we really tried to, who we are as people, we include that in our podcast and the environment. And because of that, we've had some amazing individuals on our podcast. And, the other day we were going through, since episode 1 up until the 100th episode, and we were like, man,
I forgot about some of them.
a lot of things.
I mean, some of them really stick, but some of them also I'm like, oh, dang, that's right. We had that episode.
And so one episode that to me was a circle of life for me was Sippin with Ariel and the Culture. Ariel and the Culture is this awesome musician in Texas. And I actually saw him on my TikTok one day, and I really liked his music. So I added him, whatever. And then one day I was just like, you know what? I should text him and see if he'd do our podcast. I'm like, he probably would say no. That's totally okay. I won't get butthurt, but just maybe. And I remember texting him, and I was freaking out because I was like, oh my gosh, I just did something in my comfort zone, and I don't think it's okay. If he doesn't reply, that's okay. We would pretend it didn't happen. But he ended up reaching out, was super interested. And so we had him on the show, and it was really cool because we're really close in age. And so we got to reminisce a lot about things, growing up the way we were as Hispanic individuals, but just, the circle of life right there. And years went by, and he ended up stopping by Boise to perform here, and I got to meet him in person, and it was just cool. That
was pretty neat.
We were so
meeting him from
on the phone to in online, person. We were both fangirling over each other, but it was just so cool because I'm like, man, the fact that I did something by getting out of my comfort zone, reaching out to someone, and to have that relationship, we'll text here and there and stuff like that, but to see him perform and then we see each other, it was if we're old friends and we hadn't seen each other in years. But that was just to showcase, I am so glad we did this podcast because we got to meet people like that. And it's a circle life of seeing what that may come for us as podcasters.
Yeah, definitely. And one of them too, I mean, it was a special episode, but it was with Kid Frost. Mm-hmm. And I talk about Kid Frost because he was one of the first Latinos or Chicanos to kind of put our culture in the forefronts, of mainstream hip hop and whatnot. And he came out with a song like La Raza, which is huge. It's a huge song. It's one of the biggest songs in the Chicano culture. You know what I mean? Like La Bamba. You know what I mean? And so I got to meet him and talk to him and chop it up with him to the point that it felt like we were just old friends talking and reminiscing about the old school and whatnot like that. And these type of opportunities are the opportunities that we get by being podcasters and also being in radio, obviously. But it's just a beautiful thing to be able to connect with people that you grew up with or people that you connect with, through a musical level, and then you connect with them through a personal level. It's an amazing feeling to have that, and we have so many different, amazing artists in our area as well. I mean, we have MAG of Brown Ecstasy. We talk about him a lot because he's, one of the pioneering hip hop groups, Chicano hip hop groups here in Idaho. So not only that, but this guy is well versed in all these different types of art forms. He's the one who created the Sippin Tea with Aaliyah Marie logo.
Yeah. For sure.
And then if you're watching the video, he also did all this stuff for us.
All this cool stuff. But you know what I'm saying? In Idaho, when people hear Idaho, they're like, oh, that's where potatoes are at. We're more than potatoes.
We're way more than potatoes.
Yeah, more than papas, okay?
There's gems.
We
There's
have
gems
other
up in
things,
here.
okay? But just showcasing those people, because I think it comes a lot from how we were raised. It's just to help people around us because, do it because you want to, not because you feel like, okay, now that I helped this person, okay, you owe me this. No, we're the kind of people, we're going to help you. If we're growing, we want people to grow with us. So let's see how much people we can take and we'll keep moving up.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's all do it together,
and
right?
MAG has definitely been a big part of our podcasting journey for sure. I, give a lot of kudos to that, but just with the episode Sipping with Brothers, for example.
Oh, that's one of my favorites right there.
I really like that one because we got to know him in Navarro with, kind of who they are as people, right? And there was another episode called Sipping with Beyonce.
That was my favorite. That was the first time we introduced MAG to our podcast.
MAG, and if you can follow me on Aaliyah Marie 208 on our social media.
This was pre 12 rounds podcast.
Yeah,
MAG.
this was pre 12.
So he was a little nervous in that episode.
He was just introducing 12 rounds at the time.
That's right. Because I remember he was like, afterwards he told me he was all nervous. He was like, what do you think, man? I don't know. I was like, bro, you're good, man. You're good. And not only that, once you get people relaxed and comfortable, then they just, they become themselves, and it's just a conversation between friends, right? And that's what we want to do. And as a matter of fact, you know what? Sipping with Brothers is one of my favorite ones.
It's one of my favorites.
Sipping with Beyonce is one of my favorite ones too.
I as well.
But I think we should just have these guys right here, just appear right now.
I think so.
I think it's a special guest time.
Okay.
Let's go. Oh, snap. Special guest in the building. Special guest in the building.
What's up?
MAG.
How did I get here? I was just in the bathroom.
In Navarro. Humble Vision Network in the building.
Bathroom combing my hair, and then all of a sudden here I am.
I'm not gonna say what I was doing, but
Zip up your pants, bro. We got Navarro. We got Navarro. We got MAG, Humble Vision Network, 12 Rounds Podcast. These two are amazing young men, which are just crazy talented when it comes to arts of all types, man. I mean, we're talking graphic design, we're talking production, engineering. I mean, MCs,
jack of all trades.
Singers. This guy owns like a bunch of businesses. I can't even name all the businesses he owns.
I can't even name all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
He's like,
saying?
I just do the thing and it just appears.
I have as many businesses as I have kids.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. You know what? We're gonna start calling you El Charro Navarro. Because a charro is a really cool thing, man.
Yeah.
It's the Mexican dudes that dress all nice. You know what I mean? Like that. You should be dressing all nice and dapper. With all the businesses you got. El Charro Navarro.
Yeah. You're gonna have to take me to the store.
Not chorro. Not chorro. Not confused with chorro.
Dressing has never been my strong suit.
Chivo Navarro.
So as we were talking about our two favorite episodes, Sipping with Brothers and Sipping with Beyonce, you guys haven't listened to those episodes. After this, add that to your queue and listen to them. But thank you guys for letting us use your studio, for sure.
This is their studio, by the way. So if y'all are watching the visual, this is their studio.
Yes.
The audio, we're recording right here.
Just visualize.
Yeah, and just visualize it. All right, just visualize.
Yeah,
visualize and realize.
But you guys have a podcast known as 12 Rounds Podcast, and a very awesome podcast. I talk about it all the time on my stories, that if you're looking for something, to motivate you, to really just get close to maybe someone that you knew growing up here in Idaho or whatever it is, this is a podcast for you. So for you guys, the question I have is, since you guys started the podcast, what have you learned?
Well, for me, it's been a huge learning experience. I mean, from just the video to learning how to interview the guests, it was way out of my comfort zone to do this.
Oh yeah.
Right? And I've said it a couple of times that how much this is really not my,
forte.
Yeah, it's not my forte, but but learning how to do those things kind of helped me build up a lot of other aspects in my life too, and taking things on, head first or whatever. Because it was really, when we got into this podcast, it was really just to tear off the Band-Aid situation. We didn't think about it too long. And I know with podcasts, I've had friends that say they're going to do podcasts, and they spend 6 months in the process or whatever, trying to get it together or whatever, so they can have a solid something.
Yeah.
And we just went full bore within weeks from the time that we said we were going to do it. We were doing it. So.
And then you guys actually have an episode you just dropped recently that you guys just talked a little bit more as to what the idea of Humble Vision came about. I really like that episode because I feel like I got a really good insight as to behind what you guys were doing.
Yeah, so Navarro, why don't you give us a little quick insight on that real quick, like a little summary of that.
Yeah, so Humble Vision is basically our flagship business. What it is we all grew up with a lot of fear in the media, and a lot of negativity, and there's a lot of content out there that isn't so positive. So we're creatives, we came up in the music industry. That's how we met, and we also do a lot of other creative art as well. So what we wanted to do is essentially build a broadcast company that would produce solid, positive content that would uplift our communities. We really wanted to focus on small businesses, focus on artists, focus on the people and the influencers that are out there changing the world. As a creative, and a leader, a lot of times there's you have a lot of good situations, but sometimes a lot of people will take advantage of you, going up, and everybody's always trying to get to the top first. So we wanted to kind of take that whole concept of too many chiefs and not enough Indians and really drive home that, like, we'll be the Indian. You know what I'm saying? You get jaded over time, but I think eventually as you grow out of that and you start to heal from being jaded, you realize that giving is just a part of you. So no matter what, there's going to be good people, and I think everybody kind of has a generally good heart, but some people make choices that are just, you know, kind of selfish. So we wanted to be that light in the world and do that in business. So 12 Rounds really reflects that. It really reflects me and MAG as people in general, and we just wanted that to be an extension of ourselves. How awesome would it be to be able to go to work and be genuinely authentic?
Yeah, well, I love that. I love the concept. I love what you two are doing. I know you have much more in the works. But 12 Round Podcast is a really great podcast. It's one of those podcasts that if you're feeling down and you're feeling like, you know what, I've done this already too many times, I'm done. You know what I mean? Your story might seem like it's been the hardest struggle ever, but you got to listen to other people's struggle to truly understand that, you know what, it takes a lot of times. Oh, yeah. I mean, we could fail an enormous amount of times, but if you're passionate enough and you want something bad enough, you're going to get up and you're going to get it, you know? And that's what I've seen from both of you. You know, I've known you, you know, since you were like about 15, 16, I think. Yeah, and 16. MAG, me and him, we met like in 2003. And one thing about all of us together, I've seen it. You know, I've seen our highs and I've seen our lows and I've seen all the things that we do, but we still we find a way to get back up. You know, and that to me is what the beauty about 12 Rounds Podcast and Humble Vision Network, the union of those two it's a perfect pairing, you know, because it really is. It's something to inspire those people around us. And I mean, for anybody who's listening to the podcast, yeah, you're used to us talking about pop culture and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And we do, because we like to roast, man. That's what we do. Like we roast each other, you know?
That's our family itself, is we do roasting for days.
Yeah. But in reality, we just trying to thicken your skin. You know what I mean? We try to get you tough so that way you're ready for whatever life is throwing at you, because life is always throwing curveballs at you. All we're trying to do is get you to get enough practice so that way you hit a home run every time.
I always say that to my kids too. Like, Dad, you always beat me in this and that. I was like, well, if I don't beat you, then you're not gonna know how it is to like, I'm not gonna send my child out there be like thinking they're the best at something.
No second place is here. No second place.
No, but
not your first, your last.
I agree. I think that what you guys do, you know, just even for people around you, is that, you know, you, in a sense, it's like, because people are so scared of failure, right? Like, they don't want to fail. And I struggle with that a lot too, but I started to understand that I could take my failures and turn them into successes, right? It's just another way of you growing as a person. I mean, your guys' podcast does that, and Humble Vision, and who you guys are as people. And it's just nice to surround yourself by people that tell you it's okay to fail. Like, don't feel like you can't fail. And you don't want those people telling you, oh, you fell, well, you suck. Oh, yeah. You're not good at it. Like, no, let's talk about it. Maybe you went through a situation pretty similar and you can give me advice at how to make it better. But if you're not surrounding yourself by people like that, or even, you know, surrounding yourself itself mentally, then like life is going to be 10 times harder because you're not having that. And I think I like to listen to your guys' podcast because it's just, you know, I'm only 24 and I have a lot of life to live, but just seeing where people have been through their lives, it just makes me feel comfortable at knowing if I ever hit that point in my life, those people got out of it and I can get out of it too.
Yeah. And that's the whole point of inspiration, right? Mm-hmm. Is to inspire those two to create more and to move forward more. You know what I mean? And not just stay stagnant and just kind of give up, right?
You know, I've genuinely learned to really embrace failing. I honestly, it's so much more powerful than succeeding. Succeeding only lasts for a moment. I've really redefined it to where every failure is just such a good lesson. You know, they say like the average millionaire fails over and over and over and over. It's very rare that you have anybody that's successful that didn't fail their entire life up until that moment. You know, so it's you know, that's a really good point.
Well, it makes sense. Yeah. I mean, we spoke about this on one of an episode of 12 Rounds, and I believe we spoke about it on the season finale. We spoke about holistic meditation and Monkey D. Holistic meditation. These guys are blowing up right now. And they've been
they have an episode, Sippin with holistic meditation.
They've been failing. They've been winning. They've been failing. They've been winning and whatever. And it's been 12 years in the making. And right now they're finally getting their dues.
Yeah.
And people think that these guys are just an overnight success. Like, oh, these guys, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You know, there's so much people that are like, oh, hating on them because they feel that they should be there, right? Yeah. And it's like, nah, man, you shouldn't hate on somebody for being there. You should strive to be there too. You know, there should be an inspiration. It should be like a way for you to be like, I'm not going to be there exactly where they're at, but I'm going to figure out a way to be feeling the same way that they're feeling and in the same position that I want to be to succeed, right? Because every road to success is different, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody's idea of success is different too, right? But sometimes we see all these people like enjoying fame or enjoying whatever, but you don't see the struggle behind it. You don't see all the pain, all the hardship, all the failures, and all the stuff. You don't see all of that.
And I think that's really what separates 12 rounds from a lot of other things. We're not focused really on that end goal of winning. We're focused on the process.
Yeah, on the process.
You know what I'm
on the
saying?
road there, right? Yeah.
What's your favorite episode, MAG, so far with this season of 12 rounds?
You know, I haven't really sat down and like trying to analyze which one was the best because in every episode, I always felt touched by something all the guests have said, you know what I mean? And I think that's the main objective of the podcast is to learn something from the guest, you know what I mean? And learn how, you know, they've taken their struggles and, you know, become, you know, what do you call it?
Successful.
Successful or victorious.
Victorious,
or whatever,
yeah.
you know,
Triumphant. That's it.
Yeah, triumphant, and how they've overcome their hardships or whatever. So like, I can't really pick my favorite one. There's some that were.
Give me one that stands out the most. I know which one. I'm thinking. The one I'm thinking you talk about a lot.
Which one?
The one with Israel. Selena's about his after death or life after death experience or whatnot. That to me was a trip.
Yeah, that one.
Because you were here too. You were recording it too, right?
Yeah. I actually was in the other room for a minute, and he started talking about that, and because I got the cameras all going, you know, and I took a step out for a breather. And I heard him talking about that and was like, what did he just say? And came through the door. That happens often, but it was like I was glued to my seat going, are you kidding me? I had no idea you were going to go there right now.
Christian was there like with his mouth open. He was like, what?
All saliva coming out. He's like, bruh.
He forgot about the cameras and everything. He's like,
That's what that glitch is at 23 minutes.
No, for real. That was one that really freaking like impacted me too, because like I think and I gotta say, like, man, that's brave of Israel just to go ahead and spill all that out without feeling like any sort of like he didn't hesitate at all, right?
No shame.
Yeah, because it's real, you know what I mean? Like people don't understand, like they think that this is all this is it, you know what I'm saying? But like if you're a spiritual person, you know that there's way more involved with being alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you've ever felt the feeling of love, then you know there's way more out there than just being alive, you know what I mean? But
even through a bottle of, what was it, rubber cement?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
That started that? I had no idea he was going to say that.
Yeah, the episode's called Sippin with, or not Sippin. It's called Israel Selena's 12 Rounds podcast. Yeah. That's a good episode. We don't want to give away too much of it because we really want you to go check out 12 Rounds podcast and check out this episode because really it's mind blowing. Yeah. It's like, whoa, this really happened to him? Like that trips me out, man. And then I also I liked Sippin with the Navarro brothers, man. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know about you and your brothers, man. I do remember meeting only one of your brothers, and that was the time that we were at a car show like many years ago, like in the early 2000s or something, and you two were singing. You two were, what was the name of your group?
Fire Song.
Fire Song, that's right. And you guys together were singing. And I remember he looked totally different because you guys were fit back then. Because I even got pictures of you guys looking. And I was like,
that was before all you can eat sushi became a thing. You know what I'm saying?
I love you guys back when you look good.
you still look good, but I'm just saying, you know what? We're all lean because obviously I'm super thick.
My wife, before I went on here today, she said, okay, keep your shoulders back and remember to suck your gut in.
It's like you're doing a good job.
Am I? Okay, cool.
Your chichis are out, man. The Birkin. So Navarro is not only is he part of Humble Vision Network, but you're also a singer, man. You have like a bunch of songs that to me, I think, which fits you really perfect, the Humble Vision Network, because I think you're too humble to express how much your music means to people, man. You've created some amazing songs along the way. I've been there to see, you know, the inception of these, and man, it's a beautiful thing to see you come out and then just write something straight from the soul. And you've told me before that some of these songs just write themselves because it's almost like our muse is going like, okay, it's time to use Navarro one more time again to put out a message for the people. And you do, man. When you do, like, I showed it to Aaliyah, I've showed it to a bunch of people, and all of them get like, it's almost like they listen to your song and they just sit there and kind of reflect on life. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. There obviously there's some songs that you have that are just jamming out songs, but there's songs literally that make you reflect.
Oh, I always think of Fishin'. Like that. Yeah, Fishin'. That's the one song I think that, you know, definitely, but just like it's like any of the music you do, like you get to think about life with those songs.
But one that I haven't ever really talked about that much, but the very first one that I heard of you that you did that, and to me that just switched everything I thought about you. As far as an artist, because I always thought you were really talented, but when I heard this song, I was like, this guy's not just a singer, man. This guy's a straight up legit songwriter. Like, this guy is This Isn't Goodbye. Every time I hear that song, dude, I'm telling you, I tear up because I was in the military, and being a person that's left their family, you know, to have to do, you know, serve our country and stuff. It hurts, dude. It hurts so bad to leave. And in the song, it's like, this isn't goodbye, right? But some people, it is goodbye.
Yeah.
And man, that hurt, dude.
You know,
that hurt.
That song was inspired by two different things. I had a teacher, the best teacher that I've ever had, hands down. And I actually got to have him for 4th and 5th grade because they switched things up for our class because everything was just vibing so well. And he was in Vietnam, and he was not afraid to open up and really show his emotions. So one day during class, we came in from recess or whatever, and he's dead silent, and everybody knew something was up. So we kind of all took our seats, and he just starts crying and telling us about this story of how he was drafted and went to Vietnam, and then went all the way through his story there, and then coming back to where the American people just shunned him. So they had to go and be war heroes in one of the most nastiest wars that didn't make any sense. And some of them without their will, you know, there was a lot of like camaraderie back then. So there was some support as you were going in, but when they came back, they were just shunned and spit on, you know, and people would purposely not hold the door for him. So it was between that, and my brother had just signed up for the military. So I had a lot of emotions. My little brother, Matt, that was on the show. And I wrote that song, you know, and that's what it was about.
Well, it is, man. It gets you right in the heart. And I think if you would have shown it to that teacher, you probably would have been balling again. Because, I mean,
it's cool because I actually, when I released it, somebody ended up sending it to him, and he got a chance. I don't know if he's still around now, but I know that he got a chance to to know that I did a tribute. So
and he was you inspired. You were inspired by him. That's
shout out, Mr. Eason. You're out there.
That's amazing. What questions you got, Leah?
No, you guys answered all my questions.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, you know what? Humble Vision Network is doing some great things out here, and we want you to follow Humble Vision Network and also 12 Rounds Podcast. And make sure you check out these episodes. You're finishing up your first season, MAG.
Yeah, we're out to the last section of the season, and we got some awesome things coming for season 2. Some cool surprises. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, man.
Are you gonna take off your shirt on this one?
The shirt,
because that's what I'm waiting for.
The shirt. You have to tune in to see about the shirt.
OnlyFans.
You take Bitcoin.
That information.
only 12 fans. I'm
12 fans.
I'm only accepting 12 people.
Yeah. To resonate with the podcast, I like that. You stick it to your graph.
You got to apply.
Hey man, well, we appreciate you guys coming on the show, man. The 100th episode, and
congratulations, by the way. Congratulations.
Appreciate you guys, man. Love you guys, and thank you for letting us use this spot, man. I appreciate you, man.
Should we like snap our fingers so they can go back?
Yeah, I was wondering how.
Go back to your thing.
I don't think my car's here.
Yeah. Let's go. Ready? All right. Now, We had MAG and Navarro of Humble Vision Network.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, you know what? Those two dudes are super talented.
Yeah, love them.
I love them guys. So look, now we got to talk about our favorite episodes.
Yes.
Now we're 100 episodes in. And there's a lot of episodes that we actually were going back and I was going like, oh, that's right. We did that episode.
Well, even some like the tea that we were spilling.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, snap. That didn't even come true. Like, you know what I mean? Some of the stuff.
Didn't even come true.
Well, we were talking about our favorite episode. One of our favorite episodes that you and I shared, because then we're going to pick one, separate. But one that you and I shared that we really, really liked was Sippin with Dante Thomas.
Oh, 100%.
There's a few things why, to me, it's my favorite. And then we could break it down why it's your favorite. But to me, I think when it came to the union of pop culture and interviewee, it just meshed so well.
Oh, it did.
Because the things that he was talking about went so well
to what we
and paired
had
so well with
it worked out amazing.
Yeah, with all the stuff that we were talking about. And not only that, but it had everything. It had funny stuff, it had jaw-dropping moments, it also had some emotional moments.
Yeah, I would say that was probably one of our most emotional.
It was the most complete one, I think.
Most complete one in a sense.
And we were talking about J-Lo, because J-Lo was saying that she was gonna sing
she was gonna do Whitney Houston
in the Grammys, right? And everybody was clowning on her, and I think that's why she's like, I think I'm gonna step down on this, because we all even said, you know who we all thought of? Jennifer Hudson, right?
And she ended up doing it, which kind of, thank God.
Yeah, she ended up doing it, which nobody even talked about it, because everybody was just talking about the hate train, right?
Well, because
about J-Lo,
but that's what
which I don't know why people like to hate on my J-Lo.
Yeah, we were going through those episodes, and you're like, wait, didn't the Grammys just pass? And I'm like, I guess I didn't think about it. Then I remember Ben Affleck with the whole his his bitch face right there and all that stuff. And I was like, wait, she didn't perform, but she was there. But I really think that people just were like, do not whatsoever make her sing, make someone else sing for Jennifer Lopez.
Which made sense, because I think it would have been more detrimental to her than anything.
I think so
but one thing's for sure is, the famous moment of the Versace dress, the green Versace dress that everybody, it's like iconic, right?
Yeah.
Dante Thomas was right next to her when she took
he
the picture.
Couldn't witness
and I'm like, my boy, you really did that? I was like, I don't know, Dante, I'm gonna call you out, man. I hope this is true, because he, it was on the podcast.
Yeah. But no, his stories were like that. That was one of my favorite. I would say one of my top 10 favorites of it, because it was just so crazy. I mean, I remember Dante growing up as a kid and stuff like that, and I just remember he was this big, to me he was a big celebrity, because he was in Germany, he's super famous in Germany. He sings Miss California.
He's like David Hasselhoff.
Yeah,
he's the pop David Hasselhoff.
That's the best way to describe it.
Can you say David Hasselhoff really fast?
3 times? No.
Just kidding. But I can say the Hassel, but not the Hoff.
Yeah, Miss California is a popular song that everyone knows, globally wise. Yeah. But what I loved about this episode, because I was a truth bomb was dropped, because I talked about Maria.
Oh, it being so similar to Miss California.
So similar to Miss California, and turns out that was supposed to be
the songs are related.
Yeah, they're related.
Yeah.
And I was just what, are you serious? Because my whole life I was comparing those two, and now I know the real connection behind it. It was so cool. But it was also cool to see to even hear his stories of celebrities he met and got to hang out with and do all that cool stuff. But I think it was one of the emotional ones, because he sang a little song, a little bit of a song that he's dropping this year, right? This with the album. And it's called Silver and Gold.
Silver and Gold.
Yeah,
man.
Silver and Gold. And what was so emotional about this, this particular episode is, this song is based off of his divorce. And just everything he says in the song. And I highly recommend, if you guys haven't listened to it, please listen to that one, because it really is, it's just so good. But when he sang that song, we were crying. I was just crying, because even after we got to see the video. No one else has seen it because it hasn't been released, but we got to see the music video. And I was just even bawling times 10, because he filmed it at the house that it was all happening.
Yeah.
And he is just, I like to think he is one of the most humble people too, because he always, even the episodes we had, and whether it was a morning show or a podcast, he talked about that. He's like, yes, I'm famous and all that, but that, just because I'm that famous, it doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, I want to be with my kids. I want to make sure that they're getting taken care of, and that's just it. But it was just so cool to kind of have him back, because the last time we had him was on the morning show. And what was the song that he sang?
Oh, Still in Love with America.
Still in Love with America, which I really love that. And I'm not a country person, but over the last
apparently
years,
Dante is now.
Yeah, but Dante is, and he's dropping an album, and it's just so cool, because his voice range, and to even know that he's gonna be doing a country album, I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, no, it sounds really good. But everything that you showed me sounds really good. I love that episode.
I just think, like you said, from beginning to end, all the stories he had flowed so well with the concepts we were talking about. But I think, what would be one of the funniest episodes, you think? I think we shared the same one too as well.
One of the funniest ones, I mean, gosh, it's really tough, but one of the funniest ones, because I honestly just can't stop laughing with these two, because all we do is just talk smack and sipping with legends.
Yeah,
It was Papa Master
that was my
Green
favorite
Eyes.
one too.
Like the thing about Eric and Monica, and same with MAG and Navarro and Cristobal. All of us have the same sense of humor. So like getting them on there, they're just naturally always want to be on, right?
Yeah.
Funny. So like it was like nonstop jokes after jokes, man, the whole time, and I was just cracking up. That to me is probably one of the funniest ones.
I do love Sippin with Hocus Pocus.
Yes, that was my second one. Now, Sippin with Hocus Pocus is really close to my heart. Like all of them are, obviously, but obviously this one because my little brother, Peter Jams, oh Jam.
We need to have a theme song.
Yeah, we do.
Him.
That's his theme song.
Like a very good theme
He was
song.
on it, but we talked about a lot of funny stuff because we used to make home movies, right?
Yeah.
We used to make movies back in the days, and I used to play this character. I don't even know if MAG. Do you remember this? Called Mr. Silent. That was my character, and so all of us were little cholos, and I think we were trying to mimic like Blood In Blood Out or American Meow in one of those movies, whatever those ghetto movies were. We were trying to do. So we were trying to repeat these movies, but we had them on tape. You know what I mean? And we would always do these things. One time, even I just bought the Real Deal Holyfield on Sega Genesis. So Pedro and I, we put on these coats, and I was Larry Merchant, and I don't know who he was. I was like, so what do you think about Camacho? You know, I was all saying the thing, and then Pedro's doing his other little thing, you know, and he's got his hair combed to the side, and then we had you remember those old headphones that looked like a little metal thing, and it was just a little black thing, so he put it to the side, Britney Spears style, and so we're over here talking, and he's like, well, I think he did good. I think he punched him and he won. And that was it. That was all he was doing. I was like, well, Camacho is not as macho as he thought, you know? And I don't know if y'all know Larry Merchant, but Larry Merchant is an old freaking punk ass commentator, because I don't know if y'all remember this, but reference it when he was all like talking smack about De La Hoya coming in with the Mexican flag and the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. MAG, I know you're watching this, but you remember that, right? Oh my goodness. And I was like, you know what, Larry Merchant? I'm about to slap the yellow out your teeth. But yeah, so anyways, back to Sippin with Hocus Pocus.
I would like to say that was my favorite episode too, because like since the beginning, like we always talked about my Theo, like we always like share stories and everything. So it was so fun to finally bring this character that we talked about so much onto our podcast. And he like, the thing about my Theo is he loves to talk smack for a living. Like it just gives him so much life to do that. And to have, you know, the three of us together, like,
it was just a roast session. It was a constant roast session.
And that's a typical family day with us. That's really what it was. But it was just so cool just to kind of have our family on there. And we've had a lot of our family on those episodes too. You know, especially with our childhood best friend, Alicia. She got to be on an episode and actually got to sing for a little bit too. But it was so cool, you know, for us just to BS and talk about, you know, when we were younger, me, my sister, and Alicia, we had a singing group called the Dreamers.
Oh, the Dreamers.
Okay, it was the Dreamers. All right, put some
you were dreaming.
That. Yeah, you were dreaming. But just like reminiscing about that, like it was so fun for that. And Alicia, if people know who Alicia is, she is so hilarious. Like even when she doesn't try, she's just like, that's just her personality. And so, but anyone we have, I love the comedic side of them, because it just it just makes me laugh the entire time, to the point where we kind of forget we're still recording the episode. We're like, okay, we have to stop. Yep. Like we're already running over time, and that's it, because we even had Heath and Molly Harmison too as well. And those
are good.
two,
Sippin with True Crime.
Yes,
that was one of my favorite ones with them.
But even having them too, like we do have to have that certain point where like, okay, like we have to stop because this episode is getting too long now. But because we get so comfortable with them that it's like nothing.
And speaking of true crime, you know what I mean? There is a podcast that to me is one of my favorite podcasts right now.
It's one of my favorite as well.
And it's called Sippin with Scaredykats, and this podcast deals with a scary situation, scary stories, and also true crime. You know what I mean? And the hosts obviously are amazing.
Yeah, and it's not because they're our family or anything. Like we love the
but
podcast,
they're amazing.
Okay?
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. All right,
when they want to be.
Sway and Liz are a TikTok and social media phenomenon. These two do really, really amazing things on social media. They have crazy amount of followers on all these social media outlets, and now they've started walking into the world of podcasting, and their podcast is doing amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I love how short and sweet and
short and sweet and freaky. Yeah, and then sometimes sometimes I put them on because I'm like, oh, I'm going to work, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this one because it gives me the creeps, man.
Yeah. And then I'm
trying to be on a good vibe. I mean, not that the vibe's not good, but it's scary, man. I'm not trying to be scared first thing in the morning.
I listen to him first thing in the morning though, because in the nights, like I come off of campus and it's dark.
No, see, I'll listen to him at night.
That? Oh no, I'm running.
To me, I got to get the full effect. It's got to be at night. And sometimes I listen to it and then I'll close the door in the room and then I'll turn off the lights and then I'll listen to the podcast and I'll be like, okay, this is enough.
I freak myself out.
I have to watch like a funny show.
Yeah, I freak myself out, but you know, I'm a scaredy cat as well, I guess, because like I don't like haunted houses. I don't like stuff like that. Like it freaks me out. And hearing these episodes freak me out even more.
Well, they've been on an episode with us and it's called Sippin with Scaredykats.
Yes.
But you know what? We had them on that episode, but why not bring them back for another special guest?
Just like teleport them the way we did with 12 rounds?
Let's do it, man. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Let's go. Hey, we got
what the heck?
Cats up in here.
Making some cookies.
You know what? We summoned you. You know, we got the power of the Scaredy
But
Cats.
that's how much we moved up in the podcasting life. We just snipping and snapping.
So we snap our fingers and then we have guests up here.
Just teleport guests.
That's how we do.
Okay.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer Lopez, I snapped and she told me to hold on. So,
yeah. She's like, I'm talking to Ben. Yeah.
It's a different time when I snap for her.
Mama, you listen to this.
I'm just playing.
So hi guys.
Jokes.
So thank you guys for being here today. I know it's out of your guys'. We didn't ask you. We just summoned you. You guys came. That is it.
And this is Sway and Liz.
Yeah. Hopefully King can watch those cookies so they don't get burnt.
Yeah.
Eat them. Yeah. King.
I'm putting my trust in him right now.
Yes. If you guys don't know who King is our family cat. Follow their social media. He's a star. He's a star of the show.
Yes,
Star of the show.
That's right.
So this is, in case this is the first time some of these people are listening to our episode, getting to know us, who are you guys and what do you guys do for a living? And your social security. Just kidding.
And your social security and your credit card information too. So we're Sway and Liz. We're influencers, content creators, and podcasters now. Yes. So we started making content like a while ago just for fun, and it definitely like took off on TikTok. Yeah. Like YouTube, that's a hard platform.
It is. It's
like it's hard to grow on YouTube.
Yeah.
But TikTok it just ended up taking off, and then that's where all of our just followers moved over to YouTube.
That's kind of your base, huh? Where everything's kind of like gravitating towards that, and it pushes out to everything else.
Yeah, and it's cool because like our TikTok followers are like so loyal.
They are.
Because like they went from TikTok to YouTube and then now they go to our podcast.
So do you call your guys' followers scaredy cats, or like what do you call them?
For scaredy cats, we go like, hey, what's up, scaredy
But like
cats?
let's just say let's just say they were from like YouTube to whatever. Like do you guys have a name?
We just say like Sway and Liz family.
Yeah.
We're all family.
Oh,
Big
Sway and
happy
Liz
family.
family.
We all family.
Yeah, because the brand is Sway and Liz.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the brand is Sway and Liz, but y'all do TikTok. You got a YouTube channel. You also have the Scaredy Cats podcast.
Yeah.
And then just side stuff too, like Simply Liz.
Yeah.
You also got the Josue stuff.
Ooh, if you want to see some like amazing baking TikToks, make sure you follow her.
Yeah.
I could say they are very delicious.
Yeah, they are. That's why I'm a little thick still.
See,
She's always feeding me those sweets before I go to sleep.
Yeah, I always tell everyone, like, because me and my sister, so there's 5 of us, and so I'm the oldest. She's the second oldest, but we're only about a year apart, so we grew up really close together. But I always make a joke that like if you want baking, like between the two of us, if you want some really good baking stuff, go to Lisette. But if you want like
cooking,
some cooking,
it'll be her.
Yeah, we don't carry both traits. Blame it on my mom because my mom's got good at both traits, and we didn't get both. We only got one or the other, so that's what you got to work with. But truly, like it's just so cool to see you guys, in your element because growing up with obviously as a sister, like you were so quiet.
Yeah,
you don't want to do anything. Then you guys started off as friends, and now love us and the what you guys have just put together. Like it blows my mind every day, and I text you here and there just saying like I'm so proud of you guys because wow, like it's so crazy your following base and what you guys continue to do and all these ideas that you have. Like it is so cool. And shout out to our parents, right? Because our parents raised us, keep following our dreams and doing what we do. But what do you feel like, with Scaredy Cats and everything else, like what have you feel like you learned over the last few years that you continue to grow as a person?
I feel like honestly, like in a content, aspect, it'd be like just kind of film what you want to film, not because it's the latest trend. Because if you're filming what's the latest trend, it's not going to be as appealing to your followers. They want to see you, So like I think that was like podcasting, even with content creating, that's like our main thing that we
stay true to yourself.
Yeah, along the way, because I feel like when people do that, they tend to forget why they all started it, and it's because like we we love to be, you know, ourselves, especially in front of the camera. And I feel like the people that we are is who we are, like in person, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I think that's a main thing.
Like you
that
live
we
up
learned.
to, if I were to meet you in person, be the exact same. Instead of like you meet celebrity or something and then like they're mean and you're like, man, now this whole idea of this celebrity, I don't like him anymore. Like, what about you?
So for me, still when it comes to recording, like in public, like I'm a very social person. Like I'll go and talk to people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it definitely has helped me like film in public. Like I still get like nervous and I'm
it's
just
weird,
like,
right? Like
it's
you're in the
weird.
mall and
Yeah.
you're like,
and then people are just like staring at you like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
But it's definitely like taking me out of my comfort zone and like just helped me out a lot. And just being comfortable in front of the camera, just because you have to like pretend like you're talking to like a stage or just like a bunch of people,
like you're performing, right?
And
like,
sometimes it's hard, but it's definitely helped me like gain those skills as a creator, an influencer to like, you know, better
and dude,
me, you know?
self-taught, like respect for you. Like just you put like, you blow my mind on the things you can do. Like it's just so crazy, and just you teaching yourself to learn these skills for you guys.
All self-taught, huh?
Yeah, all self-taught.
You're like a young MAG the same way. He just taught himself to do everything that he's doing, and he's just he went to school for a little bit for graphic design, but I think the thing about him is he already had that natural talent. He just needed to structure a little bit of it, but like for the most part, everything he did was self-taught.
Well, I think it's cool that you learn these things, right? Because then you guys know what the content or the things you want to get done. And you know, the higher you guys move up, you know, it is in a sense kind of hard to trust people, right? Like they say they're going to help you with this, and you know, with celebrities who have agents, all this stuff, like something could go wrong. But the fact that you're teaching this stuff, that you're like, no, I can do this. Like I'll make sure that this gets done and stuff. It's really, really cool to me personally.
Heck yeah. So what's your favorite episode right now of the Scaredy podcast?
Well, for one, sorry, because we're talking about their social media stuff. Tell us a little bit more about Scaredy.
Oh yeah. Tell us
And
that.
then follow with that.
So Scaredykats, we actually started in August of last year, and honestly it was kind of like we're just like, okay, let's just do it. And so like the name and everything, it was just kind of like, it was kind of a whole quick process, and we kind of got together as soon as we could, because we're like, we just kind of want to do podcasting. But we did Scaredy because we're literally two scaredy cats.
Originally it was going to be the two scaredy cats, but then we're all like, what do we have later in the future, more guests and stuff?
More scaredy cats.
Two scaredy cats wouldn't make sense, so we just kept it at Scaredy Cats by Sway and Liz.
Well, that's cool because it's just like, it's such a, there's multiple or many,
you could even use the word two, like TOO, Scaredy Cats too.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
If you guys ever want to rebrand.
But I mean, you're already a Scaredy Cat, so you know.
Fair enough.
If it's the name, no, but yeah. And actually, fun fact, MAG is the one who created our first podcast logo. So like the cat was honestly like,
that guy's a jack of all trades.
He is.
So,
I love him.
Honestly, like it created it kind of brought everything to life, and that was kind of like the foundation. What we needed was our logo, our name, and then we just jump started, and now like here we are with like, you know, our TikTok is at like 12K followers.
Yeah,
Oh, it's like 12 followers.
No, 12 followers. It's still good, 12, but no, like honestly, it's been a blessing to do this, because personally, like I don't mind being in front of the camera, but I love to be behind, you know, the scenes and kind of like just not everything is out there, just kind of your voice, and you're like, everybody's listening to your episodes.
What's your guys' favorite episodes then?
Mine will probably have to be the Bloody Mary one, because
that was creepy.
did not know a lot about the lady, and honestly I feel for her, so I will never do Bloody Mary again, because I'm like, that's disrespectful.
Well, just like, you know, like you're on that, like the more you think about it, it's like this poor lady, you know, like obviously there's different versions to that story. But
the version that I know, she's, you know,
she drowns
she's
her
messed
kids.
up.
She didn't like them, and she goes, you know what, I'll do it right now. But there's other stories that like they just, you know, she left them, went to go do something, and then they drowned. But like things like that, like once you kind of know at least like the main storyline of what's behind that, you're like, ooh, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Which one's your favorite?
My favorite would probably have to be the Llorona episode that we did.
Yeah,
that was creepy.
I like that one. Yeah.
Didn't you guys have like a little sample of her yelling out for her kids?
Yes. And I remember listening to that. I listened to it at night. Okay. I don't know why I did it. My fiance was working graveyard shifts at the time. I didn't have my stepdaughter that week, so I was just by myself. And I just like remember hearing that, and I didn't realize you guys were putting that sound in. So when it came on, I was just like looking around.
Yeah, that was
like,
weird.
Oh God, this is it. This is the end of my life right now.
that was creepy, man. That was a creepy episode right there. I like a lot of your episodes. One of the episodes I think that gave me the creeps and I couldn't finish listening to it was the Jeffrey Dahmer one.
Yeah, that one.
I listened to a little bit and I was like, I love you guys, but I think this is. I'm
I
gonna.
also like that you guys didn't you do an episode on Richard Ramirez?
Yeah, the Richard Ramirez one was creepy as heck too.
Because you like
I lived in that era. And that, geez, I was a little kid when he was stealing little kids. So he was our boogeyman.
Yeah, you
like a real live boogeyman.
Yeah,
it's
you're
creepy.
Steal me.
Well, like to learn more about these, you know, serial killers and just us like doing like the research and like just saying it, I'm like, oh my God, that just came out of my mouth, and that's really what they did. Even the Dahmer one was really hard for me to get through. That
would you say it was hard for you to swallow?
Bruh.
At the end of that episode,
The crickets that just happened right there.
Dang, I should have asked MAG for the crickets on that one.
This is awkward. Remember that we produce the sound by our mouth.
But yeah, when it comes to like those serial killer type of episodes, we definitely try to like not to like do it all the time because it's kind of like uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. I would imagine. I would imagine to give you nightmares because you're reading all the information about what happened, and this is actual factual facts, right?
Yeah.
So you're reading everything, and you're saying, and this is not a story. This is not a movie. This is real life that happened. So yeah, I could imagine it being creepy. But you guys got like, I want to talk about this real quick, and then just really loosely because this is on our podcast. Yeah. But you did get somebody to write you a very creepy letter.
Yes.
Oh no!
I mean, we don't have to go too much in depth into that.
No, that was weird.
That was
and
very
like,
weird.
I don't know, just like the way.
I don't know if we told you
was.
that, but we gotta tell you that.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah,
I was weird.
We could get into
You're
it.
like, I don't want
I mean, you don't gotta get into it too much because I don't want to give this guy like fuel to the fire to think that to know. So it's up to you. What do you want to say?
No, but yeah, like it was honestly, it caught us off guard because we were at work, and the fact that it got mailed to the work like where we work at, it was just like, what the heck? Like how
How did they get that
how
information?
how'd they get that information?
Because they had your guys' name and address stuff, but it wasn't from like who was from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was so weird because when the mail guy like handed it over, it like stood out. Like I was like, what the heck is this paper? And it's see-through and you can see like some weird writing, and I'm like, oh, let me like just check what this is. And it was like there was no customers in, so it was like early in the morning. And I'm like opening it, and as I'm like extending the letter out, I was like, what is this? And it's just a bunch of like weird,
almost
like
handwriting. Yeah, chicken scratch and hieroglyphics type of stuff.
Yeah, like weird, like scratchy handwriting, and it says a bunch of like conspiracy theories about Obama, about the JFK
9/11
and 9/11, and then this thing about an airplane like that it disappeared,
Flight 19,
and it had like a message on it.
Be careful, because the government might be listening to
and
this.
with Flight 19, if you guys aren't familiar with it, that's the flight that disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
So it was kind of weird. It was like all these different things that were connecting, and then it was also with the baseball player, I think one of the World Series, and then like Obama, JFK. So all of it was really weird,
And
and
there
it
was
gave
some
me the
like
creeps.
weird drawings too.
And it was
weird.
like kind of like a map of connecting certain dots. So
Yeah, that gives me the creeps.
It
And I
gave
think
me
it
the
was
creeps.
after we did a video on some sort of conspiracy theory. I think it was like Hollywood or something like that. It was
some
like
weird thing,
a week after when that letter got in the mail.
I remember all
It
of us
was
sitting
weird.
like in the living room, just like all looking at it. And we're like,
Yeah, that's weird.
this is
Yeah.
yowza.
It was
like-
interesting. It was definitely something, put a little spice in our life, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I
it was
like,
creepy.
added more
Yeah.
concept, but
Well, you know what? Scaredy Cats podcast, you could stream it anywhere. You could stream it the same way you stream the Joey and Marie podcast. And, just check them out. Sway and Liz is everywhere. Go ahead and give them your handles so that way they can find you.
Yeah, so for Sway and Liz, you can find us basically everywhere at swayliz.yt. And for the Scaredy Cats, you can find us anywhere as well at Scaredy Cats, and it's Scaredy Cats with the K, not a C.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then reference our past episode, Sippin' with Scaredy Cats, and you'll get a lot more on the Scaredy Cats. And trust me, you'll love their episodes. Watch them at night. Watch them by yourself or listen to them. That way you get extra scared.
You're part of the Latina Podcasters, Latino Pods network as well. And I just want to throw a quick plug. We actually have an app, the Latina Podcasters, you can download and sign up for, and you can listen to all Latina based podcasts.
That's right.
And we all represent the same network and stuff like that. But that is another form of listening to them, and as well as us too for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
So thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit for our 100th episode.
Yeah.
Of course,
Okay,
thank you.
we'll send you back.
Congratulations.
Hopefully those cookies don't burn.
Yeah.
If they do, it's on you.
You ready to go back?
Gotta get back to editing.
Let's go.
Oh, snap. And that was the Scaredy Cats. That was kind of scary how they came in and they left.
Meow.
Meow. I'm not ready, my meow. I'm not ready, my meow.
Yeah, meow. So as we talked about the Latina podcasters and Latino pods, I wanted to kind of go into that and kind of, why we represent that so much for many reasons. Definitely shout out to Rita. She is the founder of both networks. We met her about a year ago now, right?
Yeah, it's been about a year.
We met her. She, the thing is, it's funny because when we do our
hey Rita, if you're watching too, 12 Rounds Podcast,
right?
Remember that name.
So with our podcast, like my dad does more like the editing, the audio. I do more outline social media based, and so. My dad,
She does the research.
Yeah, I did the research and everything. But people are sending us messages. Like my dad would be like, "Oh, go look at this thing," and it'd be like weeks after that they send this message, and I'm like,
"That's my bad."
Oh my gosh!
You know what? We missed an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl.
We missed it for sure. But that's another story to tell another time.
Yeah.
But Rita she had reached out to us and was like, "Hey, like I really love your guys' podcast. I want to meet with you." And I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." I'm looking at the social media, and at the time, it was like 30 followers or something like that. So we ended up doing a Zoom call with her, and she's from Houston, Texas, right? And
Texas.
we got it. We got
in common with MAGZ.
Exactly,
he's from Texas,
right? A lot of these related things, right? Yeah. But when we met her, she kind of told us what her idea was for this network, and it was to have a bunch of Latinos represent us as people, but something like podcasting, because it's not a normal thing for our culture to have consistently like that. And so we were sold on the idea. We really loved her passion and her drive for this, and from the time that we met her up until now, we have accomplished so much. And if it wasn't because of that network, we wouldn't have gained opportunities such as sponsorships. We got sponsored by Chispa, which is a Latino dating app.
That's right.
And it's crazy because you're probably wondering well, aren't you guys with someone? Yeah, we're with some people.
Yeah, but we
know how to promote it. Okay, we know how to do that.
We found ours.
Yeah, we found ours. Okay, but we also got sponsored by Infinity Car and McDonald's, and the list kind of goes on. And back to reflection, because that is such a highlight of this episode. It is so cool that we got to connect with someone like that, and for her to have so much support in us and just pushing us as a podcast, because we are a father and daughter duo. It is not a common thing. People, when they think of it, they're like, oh, they're probably not going to really talk about anything. We talk about anything and everything. Yep. And that just comes with our relationship. That's how we are as people, and that's how I really got to be so close to my dad, is just being really open. And so that's what makes us different. For one, we're a father and daughter duo, and that's what she saw in us, but let alone what we have, the connection we have, and the way we can bounce from point A to point B. It's not very common in a lot of podcasts, as far as people have to practice for years to get that. We can instantly do it because these are conversations.
Yeah, it's chemistry.
Every weekend. But with these networks, we got to have, we got to meet other people, have them on our show. One episode called Sippin with Salud, we got to have Jose Quintanero. He actually now has a podcast called Échale Podcast. You guys should check that out.
Échale, Richie!
Yeah. But with that one, it was just so cool to collaborate with other, Latinos, and just kind of talk about, our podcast, even share the stories of what it takes for us to do our podcast. And so I definitely, like I said, big shout out to Rita, and big shout out to our network too as well, Hip Hop Advocates. We definitely want to get Hip Hop Advocates on our podcast. If you guys listen in, let's get connected.
Well, I already talked to them. They want to be on our show, but we got to come up with a good way to do it.
Yeah, and Rick H show as well. But shout out to you guys, keep doing the grind. And it's nice for us to have that support with each other. We meet once a month and just kind of BS and talk about everything. But definitely thank you, Rita, so much for giving us the opportunity, because it's helped us grow a lot as people too. So
most definitely. So with that being said, this is our 100th episode, and I want to do something special. I know I always talk about rapping and stuff like that.
I'm gonna rap. Just kidding.
And Aaliyah's gonna rap on this beat right here.
I'm sorry. I have my verses right here. Let me get my glasses really quick. I am not gonna do that.
We're gonna finish it with a freestyle. Maybe Hip Hop Advocates will be like, yes, I really do want you on our show.
Right.
You know
Sold.
what I mean? Sold. They want to put you on the show. So I want to do a little something before we get out of here. But make sure you guys follow us. Joey Bravo 208.
Aaliyah Marie 208.
Or Sippin Tea with Joey and Marie. Also, the podcast we mentioned today, 12 Rounds Podcast. Look it up. Also, Scaredykats Podcast. Look it up, man.
Yes.
So many different amazing podcasts that are out there right now. And everybody on the Latina Podcasters Network as well, man. There's some amazing podcasts you can check out, including our homies, the Hip Hop Advocates.
Yeah, once again, shout out to anyone who's ever been on our show, just supporting us and stuff. Midnight 30. Thanks to you guys. This is why we get to do what we get to do. And this is, it's just so dear to our hearts to have this podcast and what we've been given the last few years. Just thank you guys. Truly appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm going to get a little drink of something because I'm going to rap for a little bit.
I got to clear my throat. Let me clear my throat.
Yeah. And this is for all the Latinos out there. And let's see. Where's that beat at? Oh, there it is. I can hear it. First, I'm gonna hear the beat real quick. And then we're going to get them a little something. Spanish and English.
I got you.
we go. All right. Wise words turn to weapon to win wars and move forward from full force. Your main course, back with the normie, the rebels that resemble several devils. A man at every level through the bass and the treble. The mechanic of rap, coming at you with the tangible plan. Chomping out like a cannibal man, smoking cannabis. Damn, it's the immaculate tactician. Latest edition, cypher serious demolition, messing on MCs to cure the disease. Industries releasing these pieces of feces, mumbling mutts. Woman like a dodge of this punks, deserving uppercuts. Got me power clutching the mic and starting the fight to appease an appetite. Reunite the power with the people through the music, make the spark of revolution. Yo, it's crucial that we find a solution, expose the illusion, alleviate the confusion. Powers in the pen, the elements I'm here to defend with these lethal linguistics, proving the ballpoint ballistics, written in hieroglyphics. That in the middle of ellipsis, you get this, many will miss this. Yeah, I'm a beast at the box, I never know the dots, block sounds foreverable to make the beat not here to connect the dots. Essence of the Renaissance, golden era type of fellas ready for the resurrection. Rejection of the current situation, we face it, trying to restore the favorite rap rhythm and poetry. Hit with the defibrillator, I'm working the fader by V filled with crime on hard puppet to the rhythm of the beatbox. Turn the beat talks, not to put the uproar back in action, gaining traction, your main attraction. Fact that the matter, we're ready for the battle. Shit, I'm ready for the battle, ready for the battle. Shit, that's it. That's all I got right there, man.
Thank you, guys.
I started messing up a little bit, but you know what? That has been the show, the 100th episode. Sippin' tea with Joey and Marie. Shout out to my boy MAG, Brown Ecstasy, Humble Vision Network. And I hope you enjoyed the show, man. 100 episodes, and here's to 100 more, baby. Let's go. Love you, mija.